What is going on, everybody? It is the Toontown Gamer coming back at you with another video, and today I'm going to be discussing the 3.1 update that Toontown Rewritten has released as of recent, involving addressing community feedback. So I know that this update came out on February 6th of 2022, and by the time you guys are seeing this, it will most likely be the 10th or 11th of February, so I apologize in advance for talking about this a little bit later than usual, but I've been a bit busy, so please don't hold it against me. I'll be giving my own personal opinion on everything that was featured and changed in this update, and I think you should too down in the comments. And also don't forget to join the Discord server linked in the description. We could always use more members. The update in particular was mostly centered around community feedback and not really so much adding new content. It is mostly involving things like patching the game, fixing bugs, and overall listening to what the feedback was from the community after the Sellbot field office update came out. And I gotta admit, there was a lot that I liked and a lot that I was sort of on the fence about and disliked. So I'm really happy to see that this update has nothing much really to do with adding new content, although there is a couple of small new things that were added into this. And I'm just going to go over every single little thing involving each category, from general to battles, the boarding groups, Cog Remote Controls, Sellbot field offices, and then last the Sellbot task force. So I'm just going to go over them one at a time, and I'll try to give as much visual appeal as I can with you guys with some in-game footage and some screenshots, but not everything really needs to be seen, if you know what I mean. So let's just go right through it. So the first thing in general, which is mostly involving bug fixes, is when animation smoothing is enabled, various animations that did not get properly smoothed before now will be. I didn't see too much of this going on in the game, but what I'm assuming they mean by this is that any animations that didn't really blend in with another one, or have like a transition from like walking to a different animation, has now been smoothed out, so that's good to hear. Let's see, squashed a bug that would cause the friends button to stick in the corner of the screen. This I never saw once, but again, I'm happy that they fixed it, so that's good. Fixed an issue in the Chief Justice and CEO battles that could cause certain dialogue to either appear cut off or too small. This, again, I don't recall really seeing that all that much, but again, I'm satisfied that it was patched and fixed. I'm sure other people probably dealt with that. Addressed a bug that got Toon stuck when trying to enter a building as a cog is taking it over. This, I can only assume, was probably when someone was trying to enter a Toon building and then a cog building dropped in its place, and then there was probably a message that got popped up that said, oh, be careful, a cog's going in there, and then maybe they just got stuck or something. I'm not really too sure, but at least it's fixed. Moved a couple of misplaced props on Pajama Place and Elm Street. Now, I did go and visit both of these streets just to see what had changed, and overall, everything looked mostly the same. I didn't really see any differences at all in what was moved around or shuffled. I'm assuming maybe a couple of boxes or trash cans or something were placed at an awkward angle or clipping through something, but I didn't really see too much, so I guess it's not really that big of a deal. Adjusted a cog path near the Sellbot factory front entrance to prevent Toons from accidentally entering battles. I did visit Sellbot HQ and went over to the factory entrance just to see if there was anything different, and after observing the Cog's patrol routes for quite some time, I did notice that there was a small notable difference in how they walk in front of the factory. They sort of go around it like as if there's an invisible wall, like a bubble in front of the factory entrance. And I guess that just kind of helps increase the chances of Toons not running into a cog to start a cog fight on the in front of the factory. So I would say that that's actually sort of a win. So they did good on that. I'm happy they did that. That was something I didn't really notice in the past. So for the last two things in general, they address typos in certain lines of dialogue. Now, I'm not sure if this is either in the Speed Chat Plus or with the NPCs. I'm assuming it's most likely the NPCs. I'm not sure what exactly was wrong with the dialogue, but I'm happy that they got it fixed. And then they last fixed several client crashes across Toontown, which that's really good. I know that the field offices had a huge crashing issue when they first released, so that's pretty much it for the bug fixes in general. Okay, so moving on to battles, the first thing they changed, and this is actually my favorite thing in the entire update, and I'm just blown away by this, is they sped up the animations of Restock, Tunes Hit, and Cog's Miss SOS cards. For those who don't know, the way it used to work was a tune would come up out of their porthole and then slowly use a lipstick on all four tunes to restock or do a tunes hit or anything of that such. The same thing goes with the cogs, but now they changed it so that they just do an entire group tune up. Now it's not a juggling balls or anything like that. They just distribute the lipstick amongst all four tunes or all four cogs at once to make it faster. But this is something that me and so many other people have been asking and begging for so many years, and it's finally been changed in the year of 2022. This should have come much earlier, but I'm happy that it's here, and I just want to say thank you. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but that's just how I'm going to leave it. I'm happy it's here. Thank you. In the SOS card menu, there is now an option to filter by other for certain types of cards. So what they did for this was they made it more clear and easy to tell which SOS card is which for when you go through the certain types of cards, whether it be in your sticker book or in the heat of the battle when the timer's ticking down. It's now much easier to sort through your cards and select what you want to select. So cards like other, like Tunes Hit, Cogs Miss, and Restocks are now a bit more separate from each other, so it just kind of helps prevent you from frantically clicking through and dragging through the scroll bar of all your cards just to pick the right one. So I think that's a win to make it more organized. The rounds left indicator for lure gags is now more consistent with other round-based status effects. Note that the amount of lure rounds has not been changed in this update. For this one, what I'm assuming they did was just make it slightly easier to tell how much longer the cogs are lured for when you're in a fight. It must be easier now to just tell when a cog is about to get unlured, so that's something that they changed and made easier to tell now, so I'm happy that they did that. Doodles, pink slips, and remote controls now properly count as stuns in battles. For those who don't know, those three things before did not count as stuns, and I'm not going to elaborate on stuns too much, but pretty much a stun is what happens when a cog gets damaged by a gag track or a tune-up gets used of that sort, and then it increases the chances of the next gag being used in the same round of hitting the cogs. So doing things like using a doodle or a remote control will slightly increase the chances of a gag hitting a cog during a battle. So let's say someone wants to use a lure, maybe it would be a good idea to use a doodle, or I don't know why you would use a pink slip, but at least it counts as a stun now. So it just makes fighting a little more efficient, and I'm happy that they did that. Fix several battle-related game crashes. This one, I have no idea what was fixed. I don't know if it has to do with the field offices or not, but the good news is, at least we are less likely to crash when we're fighting the cogs. So that's a good thing. Alright, so moving on to boarding groups. In COG HQs, elevators now have a name tag that can be clicked on. Once clicked, you can teleport directly to the elevator. This is a really good thing that they did, because now it makes it easier to get your boarding group to the elevator so you don't have to walk manually over to them. The way the old boarding groups used to work was you could just invite people to your group and then you just teleport straight to things like the mints or the factories, DA offices, COG golf courses. Then they updated it and made it so that tunes have to like manually walk over to the elevators, but now they put name tags that point towards the elevators, so now you can walk straight towards them manually. It's kind of hard to explain, so you kind of need to go in game to do it yourself. I showed a little bit of gameplay footage here just so you know what it looks like. And the best part about this is that in CashBot HQ, you no longer need to run past the trains to get to the CFO boss fight. You could just teleport straight to the bullion mint, and then after that you just run straight to the CashBot door, so you don't have to go past the trains. So I still don't really like how the new boarding group feature works, but I would say that this is definitely a good step in the right direction, and I like it. When in Boss Cog lobbies, boarding groups can be created from anywhere in the area once again. For those who don't know, when they updated the boarding groups, you had to be standing like right in front of the elevator in order to make a boarding group in general, just so you can invite other people to the group. But now they changed that, so once again, you can make boarding groups anywhere. Like, that's it. Good. Good. I'm glad they did that. I don't know why they made it like that, but I'm happy that they fixed it. When in Boss Cog lobbies, toons can no longer be invited to a boarding group if they do not have a promotion. So if a toon did not have a promotion, then it would say on your end that the toon needs a promotion, but they don't know that they don't have a promotion, so you still need to tell them. But they made it now so you can't even invite them. So I actually think that this sort of makes it a little more confusing, because you still have to tell the toon that they don't have a promotion even though you can't invite them. So they might just say, hey, could you invite me? Why aren't you inviting me? And for us, it just makes it easier to tell that they don't have a promotion, but you still need to tell them. And frankly, I think what they should have done here was just make it so that toons that don't have a promotion can't even enter the Boss Cog lobby because they don't have a promotion. That's just what I personally think they should do, but I feel like this doesn't make a whole lot of a difference because it just saves us 2 clicks from trying to invite them to the boarding group and then getting the message saying that they're not ready. But, that's just me. I guess it just makes it just a tiny bit better. When inside a Boss Cog elevator, you can press tab by default to swap to a new looking out of the elevator from inside. So this, I guess, is... At first I thought it was just a nice little feature to have you switch the camera angle so it kind of goes back to the same camera angle from when you enter the boss battle, but I realized it also can leave a little room of opportunity to see if there's anyone else that might walk into the lobby before you go up in the elevator. So if you have like a group of 5 or 6 people, when there's like 2 seconds left, you could see if someone enters the elevator into the lobby. So I guess it's kind of like a little like time saver, like a little like a last chance sort of thing, like, hey, that guy walked in, let's step out and invite him. Then you go back in the elevator and go back up. That's what I could see that being used for. Implemented various anti-shuffling checks in Cog HQs. I'm not too sure what exactly this is, so if you guys know what that means, then tell me. I don't really know what the shuffling thing is. I really don't know what happens. I don't know if that's toon shuffling or cog shuffling or what, but they fixed it. So, cool. When a full boarding group enters an elevator, the timer will drop down to 5 seconds. This is just another one of those simple time saver moves where if you have a full group of people and you go into the elevator, you don't have to wait for it to drop down from like 20 or 30 seconds. It just goes straight down to 5 seconds, so it's just more straightforward and to the point. And, that's really all there is to it. It just saves like 15 seconds, so I like that. And last, for boarding groups, they fixed various bugs and visual issues with boarding groups and elevators. Again, I don't really know what the visual errors were and the other bugs were, but again, I'm happy that it's patched so that way we don't have to deal with it in the future. And I know I keep saying that like everything's good, but truly it is, just because I wasn't there to experience it myself doesn't mean that it's not a real thing, and I'm happy that it's patched and fixed so that way no one else experiences this again in the future. So that's good. I'm happy. Okay, so for the Cog Remote Controls, I'm going to try to rapid fire through all of these at once and then just try to give my quick opinion on all of these. So 1-star remotes now last for 2 rounds instead of 3, so this makes it just a little bit harder when it comes to planning things out, when it comes to, using lure and whatnot. Instead of dealing self-damage over time, controlled cogs will instead get all damage at once when the remote control expires. This makes it a little bit harder as well, because sometimes, it'd be nice to just like slowly chip cogs down with health, but instead it's gonna be all at once, so maybe using 4 foghorns all at the same time may not be enough to kill things like level 14, level 15 cogs, but again, you never know. Damage remotes now unlure cogs, so you're going to be taking some heavy damage if you don't have a lot of cogs with damage and healing remotes. And then boosted the damage output of damage remotes, which is a good thing, and it can also be a bad thing because if you kill a cog too early, then another one will come and take its place. So that might make things easier and it might make things harder, but I think it's kind of 50-50. 3-star remotes are now guaranteed to be rewarded at the end of 3-star Sellbot field offices. This is a good thing. I'm happy that that's changed. I didn't even know that that was a thing. One thing I know about those 3-star field offices is that they are really, really hard at times, and I believe that we do deserve those 3-star remotes every single time we do a 3-star field office. Applied a slight speed up to the healing remotes animation. That's good, because I know those kind of took a while seeing the cogs dance or tell a joke. So overall, the Cog Remote Controls, most of these changes I don't really like. I think they might make the game a little bit harder and inconvenience people some more, but I can't really make that much of a big of a judgment call because I haven't really done any field offices since this update came out. So if you guys have done some within the few days of this update coming out, then be sure to leave a comment down below and tell me what you think about these remote controls. So for the Sellbot field offices, I'm going to kind of do the same thing I did with the Cog Remote Controls and just give a little bit of feedback on each piece. So the first thing they changed was they tweaked the spawn rates of Sellbot field offices across Toontown. I'm not sure if they either increased the chances of the field offices spawning or if they decreased it. You guys will just have to tell me. I'm not too sure what the differences are. 1-star field offices now start with 90 annexes remaining. I think they may have started with like 120, but I guess they reduced it to 90 just to make them easier to take down. On the first floor of field offices, the trap gag track will only appear in combination with lure. This one, at first I didn't really understand why they did that, because I know that they talked about how they want people to stock up on SOS cards so they could use SOS lures, but I think that it's starting to get a little excessive to like waste an entire SOS lure just for the sake of having a trap gag work once on a cog and possibly not even kill them. So I think that this is a good change that they put in. I know that some people won't like that it's not completely random anymore, because that's how field offices are supposed to be. They're supposed to force you to use your rewards and utilize everyone's different skill sets and whatnot, but I think it's a good decision overall to do, because trap is the most useless gag in the game, so I think it's a good choice on their part. Addressed a visual issue in cold collar cubicles. Again, not too sure what exactly happened. Maybe it's the visual issue involving going into the gray. I know that happens when you go up against the corners or the walls. I'm not really too sure about that, but they fixed a visual issue, so that's good. And then fixed a visual issue with the boiler's health bar that would cause it to jump back, quotation marks, in the next round. I'm not sure if that means like when the next round starts up that the health bar would go down to the next phase from like yellow to orange, but either way, I like most of what they did with the Sellbot field offices tweaks. I like what they did there, and I think it's pretty solid. And again, it's based off community feedback, so they're just listening to what people have to say about them. And last on the list, we have the Sellbot Task Force, which is one of my favorite parts of the update. And they fixed several bugs preventing toons from obtaining certain rank up rewards. Not too sure what the problem was, but I'm glad that they fixed it. It probably has to do with turning in toon tasks and stuff like that. They also addressed an issue where you could not re-obtain cosmetics if you had deleted them. So it says if you delete part or all of the set of cosmetics, you can redo the associated toon tasks to get them back. So that's good. So that way you don't work through the entire game and then get the accessory and then delete it and can't get it back. If you really want the accessory back, then you at least get the chance to do the associated toon test to get it back. So that's good. Fixed a bug that led to obtaining multiple just for fun toon tasks with the same reward in the hideout. I'm not sure what exactly this is. I don't know if it's resistance points or if it's accessories or what it is, but at least they fixed a bug that had to do with obtaining multiple just for fun toon tasks. So, and last but certainly not least, they made a partially difficult toon task for the sleuth badge just a little bit easier. I'm not sure what exactly they did to change that toon task, but it's just a little bit easier. So if anyone runs into that task, then tell us, tell me, tell everyone in the comments what they did to make it a little bit easier, because it must have been too hard for people and people were complaining. So good, they made it a little bit easier. So that pretty much wraps up everything involving this update. The 3.1 update addresses your feedback from the Toontown community. Again, I am really happy that they decided to listen to what everyone had to say and do a separate individual update involving things like only feedback while also fixing a few bugs. And again, this didn't really have much at all to do with adding new content. It was just about tweaks, bug fixes, and community feedback. And I'm really happy that they decided to do that. So that's pretty much it. That's all I have to say for this video in particular. Again, don't forget to join the Discord server, leave a like, comment, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. And I know it's been a long time since I have uploaded anything at all to my channel, but you know, there's just not really too much going on. But again, just tell me if you like this style of videos, because I think other people like it, because they're actually getting quite a bit more views than some of the older style content that I did. Hopefully I didn't go through anything too fast, but that's pretty much it. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll probably see you guys again in a couple of weeks or so. So have a good day, guys. See you around. Are you kidding me? Dude, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what? So much for updating it. I just ran into a cog. That's not supposed to happen. Sheesh. What the heck, dude? Wait, what the hell is going on? What's that all about?